right. Yes. Ready? What? 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 Hello? Did somebody say something? What? Uh, I don't know. What? Oh, you, Buffaloes fans. Buffers, hey! What? You want to hear something? Oh, we're going to have a listening session. No, 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 no. Hey, Buffalo fans, welcome to Joe Buffalo Unplugged. I'm here to tell you today that we are going to. What is going on? Hold on a second here. Give me a second. We have a little mayday. There we go. Okay. Just making sure that the stream's working. Anyway, we're going live. Joe Buffalo Unplugged. Let's get started. All right, it's been a little bit since I've gone live, so welcome to another edition of Joe Buffalo Unplugged. I'm Joe Buffalo, and I had an awesome week, and I want to just kind of talk about listening today. So we're going to go over a little educational class to teach you how to listen and hopefully improve some listening skills because that is something that is near and dear to my heart, and that's something I want to do. I want to improve my listening skills, and I'm sure if you were to talk to my Buffaloette, she would tell you that is. I always hear her saying, "You never listen. You never listen," and I do listen. I just don't listen. And I want to go over the details today. We're going to touch base a little bit with the book, "The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People" by Stephen Covey, and let's get this started. Very excited to be here. Let's see. All right. So, hobbies for couples. Well, what is that exactly? That is my YouTube channel, Hobbies for Couples. So, what is Hobbies for Couples? Well, we are here to improve your relationship by doing things you love to do with someone you love to do that with. And my name is Joe Buffalo. We love to do DIY stuff together as a couple. And we're excited to be doing another one next week. But let's get into this. So, the first thing we have here is definition of listening. And what exactly do we mean by the definition of listening? So, to pay attention to hear something with thoughtful attention, or to be alert to catch an unexpected sound. I don't know why that's on there, but let's just deal with it. Ignore the little stuff on the bottom. I don't know why it's doing that. Technical difficulties. We'll move on from there. So, definition of listen. There's 3 types of listening. The first type of listening is informational. And that's where you go ahead and you learn how to listen. Or you're learning things. You're paying attention to maybe like a classroom setting. Then you have critical listening, which is a way where you're evaluating the situation. And then you have empathetic listening, which is an understanding or the feeling for the type of listening that's happening. Let me see if, hold on, let's see if I can fix this because it's annoying me. I'm sure it's annoying you. Let's see that. Does that work any better? Yes, there we go. Always entertaining. All right, so back to the listening part. So what we're going to focus in on here is the empathetic listening. I really want to touch on that a lot. So, quote, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply, by the author of the book, seven highly effective, what is it called? 7 highly effective habits of a leader for people. So here's the question I have for you. What does success look like? So in your eyes, what does success look like? what is something that stands out and that satisfies you for success? And for me, for example, I know success is when I've achieved helping someone, whether it's helping somebody that is I work with, or it's somebody in my house life, or it's one of my children. When I can really truly say that I feel good about success, I know that I've helped them somehow by either, something I said, something I did, something they did. Um, but if we look at habit number 5 in the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you first, this habit's really important, and it's seek first to understand than to be understood. So let's dive into that a little bit. What does that actually mean to us? When you're when you're trying to understand somebody and you really start to listen to them, you have to really show passion to it. You have to look them in the eyes. You have to seek first to understand. Understand what they're trying to communicate to you. Don't try to be the one speaking. Listen. They don't want you to speak, I guess. And oh, there you are down there. I'm telling you, the really important part of it is that if you truly listen to someone, you're taking the time out of your day to try to help them do what they're trying to explain to you. And then they understand that you're doing that, so they appreciate the fact that you are taking your time to listen and understand what they're trying to say. So back to habit number 5: seek first to understand and to be understood. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is a great book, and I had a lot of travel time this week. I probably spent almost, out of the 6-7 days, I've spent probably an entire day traveling. And during that time, I read a few books, and one of the books was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And if you look in the program that we had about communication, in that communication episode, one of the topics to have a good communication, and the main topic was to listen. And I stated earlier that communication is the key to success. So what is the best way to communicate? And that's to listen. So I looked and I was reading this book. Well, I was listening to it because I don't like to read when I fly or travel on a car. But so I was listening to the book, and I got to habit 5, and I said, wow, this is the secret to actually listening. And you look at the quote, and it's very important that if you really want to communicate well, because communication is the key to success, then step 1 would be to listen so that you can communicate very, very well. So this is the part of the show. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and smash that like button. Give us a like. If you're new to my show and you enjoy building relationships by doing things you love to do with people you love to do them with, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. We'll have more of these training seminars as the weeks progress. So this is our take action part. After you go ahead and smash that like button, become a better listener. How do you become a better listener? So here's what I need. I need to know. Put it in the chat section. How will you become a better listener? What's it going to take? And I just want to give a couple shout outs there. We got Elisa, Karine, Cassandra, Ileana, hope you got your t-shirts coming. But how will you become a better listener? So in the chat section down below, go ahead, type in there how you think some things could be to become a better listener, because I'm going to get in some detail, and I just kind of want to see some things that you think is going to help you become a better listener. And then the second thing, do you speak first in communication? Are you the first one that has to come out and say something? Because if that's the case, then you need to listen a little bit longer. Listen. you should somebody should count how many times I say the word listen in this listening session. All right. Anyway, why is legitimate listening not so important? Now, notice I say legitimate. So, what does that mean? Legitimate listening. That's the part where, you know, there's times where you could be sitting and talking to an individual, and they're talking back at you, and uh, you really don't understand what they're saying because you're not paying attention to what they're saying. So, listening is key to all effective communication. Listening is key to all effective communication. So, with that being said, it's so important if you are listening as a person who's trying to communicate, person who's trying to build a successful communication so that they can have success and whatever we decided what success looked like, which we talked about earlier. I cannot tell you how important it is to listen, because I could tell you so many times that I've failed from listening, and it could be as simple as knowing the time that somebody gets out of work, or knowing the time that I have to go pick up a child from somewhere. And if I make that mistake, then I didn't listen the first time it was told to me. So how do we listen effectively? So what are some steps, right? I'm going to give you some steps. These are probably important. I would write one or two of these down, or type down below, comment down below which one you think is most important to you. Maintain eye contact. Yep, that's an important one. Be attentive but relaxed. Ask questions. So I like this one. So in my travels this week, I am traveling. So if you're traveling on an airplane, right? Normally, you don't want to sit in the middle seat. I don't know too many people who want to sit in the middle seat. Now, you will sit in the middle seat if you know the person next to you, right? So normally, if you know the person next to you, you're going to go ahead and sit in the middle of the seat, because you guys are going to communicate and talk and hopefully listen to each other. But where did that go? There's too many moving parts. So I'm in an airplane, and obviously I was traveling this week. I didn't know anybody, and I'm sitting in the middle of the seat because it was assigned to me on the way to Arkansas, where I was going. And as I'm sitting in the middle, I was first to arrive at the section where I was sitting. So I'm like, oh great, I'm in the middle. And you know that feeling? Oh my God, I hate being in the middle of the seat of the airplane. So as I'm sitting there in the middle seat, the first person comes, and it's the person on the outside by the aisle, and she sits down, and I'm like, hey, how are you? And yeah, I'm good. And she started telling me all about her life, and I just sat there and I listened to her, and she just kept going on and on and on, and it was a very good conversation. I'm not trying to be like, oh my God, it kept going on and on, but she just kept, and I just listened and listened and listened, and then she got done, and she's like, so what do you do? And I told her, and then we were in the same job, and she was a claim supervisor, I was a store manager, so she was all excited and going to her first meeting. So she got to tell me all about it, and it was neat because I really took the time to understand what she was saying. And then we're sitting there waiting, and another girl comes on the other side of me, and the exact same thing happened. And then we finally got to take off. But I guess what's the most important part here is I could have been a total jerk, and I could have just said, not made any eye contact. I could have put my head in a book. I could have put my head in the phone, put my earbuds on, start listening to music. I could have did a million things, but I didn't. I didn't do that because I did care. I wanted to know their experience, because my job as an influencer is to influence people so that they can enjoy what they do and who they do it with. So, but I thought that was a good story to share. And yeah. Well, anyway, next one. Watch nonverbal cues. So what exactly does that mean? Nonverbal cues means, okay, you see hand gestures, you see eye movements, you see maybe faces kind of frown. At that point, you know that they're either upset or something's not right. Um, so, Chica, as Ezra there, you say, I'll give the person speaking my undivided attention. Good for you. Maybe I should take lessons off you. That'd be funny. Always entertaining. Uh, Next, give feedback. That's very important too. I think you don't really want to give your opinion on it yet. You want to listen, but you want to give feedback on the matter. So maybe it's something you've experienced, maybe it's something you've done. So, back to that conversation of the claim supervisor, she's talking about how it's her first trip and what she's doing, and I'm basically talking. I'm Kareem, put the phone down to listen. Phone is the number one problem with people not listening to others. That's a very good point. I can't tell you how important that is because we're always in our phones. And I know you should always be on your phone watching Joe Buffalo Unplugged because I do that often. I'll just sit there and watch myself, but I'm just kidding. But no, I'm probably not kidding. I do that just till I get better. But you should put your phone down. When somebody's talking to you in a communication, especially at dinner, man, you'll be at dinner and the kids are sitting around the table and everybody's got their phone in their face and we're all eating. And sometimes I even do this. And it's just not good. We need to disassociate with everything else and pay attention to who's around us so that we can improve our relationships by doing things we love with people we love. Again, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already done so, smash that like button so we can get some likes in this conversation, in this listening session. But yes, okay, back to my give feedback. So don't interrupt and give your solution. I think that's really good. A lot of times I'll listen, not really listen, but I'll be hearing what they're saying. I guess that's what I'll start using. I'll be using hearing what they're saying. And then what happens next is I'm not listening and I'm just thinking completely about what I would do and how I'd make it better. But that's not the thing. The thing is that's the point where you want to ask a question maybe about it and get more information from what they're trying to tell us or whoever's trying to tell us, and then go ahead and maybe, when they ask you the next part, hey, this is what I want you to do, this is what I want you to hear, maybe they want your opinion, that's when you go ahead and give them a solution. There's a good one. Try to feel what they feel. Try to be in their shoes. Try to understand what they are, their expectation is. Jose, newlywed here, how can I keep the conversation to one topic instead of her keep switching topics? So let her switch topics. Congratulations on your newlywed. But let him switch topics, man. Just sit there. I think she wants to be heard, and then let her hear. Let her know that you're listening for sure. So maybe there's 10 things that are coming up in conversation. Let's focus on one and then go to 2 and then go to 3 and eventually you get to 10. And maybe that's how you approach that situation. Find out what's most important to her. And then what's most important to her will obviously become most important for you. So go back to that How to Choose Couples show. Watch that one. That was a good one. That's exactly how the first part of communications happen. So next, listening. Now this is the exact same quote I had in our last PowerPoint. It said, listening doesn't simply mean hearing. It simply means understanding the other person's point of view. Very important. It popped up as one of the big points. And then look what the last one is. Keep an open mind. This is the exact same 3 steps we used in tips for couples. This was tip number 3, keep an open mind. And with keep open mind, that whole PowerPoint, my Buffaloette designed that. And then I've just taken that and I've broken it down into 3 different episodes. Well, I'm going to do an episode on keep an open mind, but I haven't done it yet. But keep an open mind is going to be our next episode, and I'm not going to get into it because I want to talk about it on there. If you're not already following me on Joe Buffalo Unplugged, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, those are my handles. Um, let's see here. So I guess to end this, uh, we've had the first tips on couples, and we went over how important 3 steps were: communication, listening, and keeping an open mind. And then what we did next was we had a wonderful video on communication, and we talked about how important it is to communicate. And then the next piece was, well, now we had this video on listening, and I cannot wait to do the next video on keeping an open mind. But why are we doing this? It comes back to the part where I put it up on the screen. I guess it was last episode, and I said, why are we doing this? And you have to define your why. Get your why. Communicate with purpose, because communication is the key to success. And then I guess the key to communication would be listening. Well, there's your Joe Buffalo. Put that in a quote. The key to communication is listening. Dash Joe Buffalo Unplugged. Dash. It's been an outstanding week. I listened for 6 days. And in those 6 days that I was listening, I've developed an absolute urge inside me right now that wants to spread the communication. But I have to listen first before I go and spread communication to everybody else. I think one of the coolest parts of this past week that I experienced was sitting in a room full of 50 influencers. And in these influencers that I was with, we told our story. And I guess when I mean by you're telling your story is, you're telling how you got so involved to what you're involved in right now. And there was 50 of us in that room. It took almost 2 hours to introduce and tell a story of 50 people. And if you've ever sat through a 2-hour movie, you know that some parts of the movie are not good. Some 2-hour movies you could sit through the entire thing and wish it was 3 hours. But some of them you wish, you could end it at an hour and a half. I could tell you we could have sat for another 2 hours and just chatted about our purpose and the reason that we were there, the why behind it all. And, one of the stories I told was back to communication. I had made a video, and I had to put a video on an Instagram page. And that Instagram page, I then put it over to Facebook, which, Instagram, Facebook don't like that. But so once it gets over on Facebook, another person that I have no idea reached out to me, and they said, hey Rich, aka Joe Buffalo, can you have the person that was on that video reach out to me, because they hired me so many years ago, and now I'm a store manager for the company, and I just want to thank them. And I said, whoa. Again, number one, communication. I communicated a message. I took somebody that is one of the people that work for me. We did a video together. We put it on Instagram. We put it on Facebook. I communicated it to everybody I could communicate it to. And then I get a message back, and I could have just said, delete on the message and not listen to it. And I didn't. I acted on it. And I don't know the outcome yet because I flew away, but I'm going to find out the outcome. And I can tell you that was pretty special to me. But again, I can't tell you how thankful I am. You guys watched over 12,000 minutes of me, and that's over the last 4 months, and I'm very appreciative of that. I'm also very appreciative of the fact that I had to do so much training last week, because I have so much to do and so much to teach, and the videoing part, and I like doing these live shows. I'll be doing a lot of live on Instagram. If you hadn't seen me this week, I was trying to go live a lot. I did a lot of posts. But I can't tell you how truly thankful I am to have you. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and smash that like button. And my name's Joe Buffalo, and we are always entertaining. Have a good week.